In part one, we removed the gas tank and found a lot of rust. So we treated the rust with evapor rust over an 8-day period. Then we made a makeshift auxiliary gas tank out of a piece of rubber hose and a funnel. In part two, we're going to compression test the engine to see the health of the engine. So stick around. Okay, today I went out and bought a compression tester, and we're going to pull the plugs on the Katana and test for pressure. We're going to test to see how healthy this engine is in this 2000 Katana 750. I gotta be honest with you, this is going to be a budget build. So the reason why I'm pressure testing is I have to think logically and methodically. I got the engine running to turn over and run in part one, and now I need to make sure it's going to be worth my time and worth my money. Like I said in part one, I wouldn't have bought this bike under normal circumstances, so I do not want to put a whole lot of money into it. I've been pricing Katanas on Facebook Market and Craigslist, and they're not fetching a whole lot of money. This is not a bike that to me it's a niche bike. All right, I guess this is take two, guys. All right, I'm back over at the garage. Yeah, sorry about that. I charged the battery up overnight. I put the spark plugs back in the motorcycle, and I started the bike up, and I ran it for another 10 or 15 minutes. Now we're going to try to compression test the motor to see how healthy it is under a heat load. That's why I let the bike run for 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm going to take out these spark plugs, and then we'll start the test. We ran on the first cylinder and the second cylinder. I got 180 psi on the first cylinder. I got 175 psi on the second cylinder. So now we're going to do cylinder 3 and cylinder 4. I don't know if the 185 and the 175, I don't know, man. That seems a little high. Like I say, the guy did say he had the motor rebuilt, but we'll see. Okay, let me snatch these spark plugs out, and then we'll continue the compression test on cylinder 3 and 4. All right, guys, I pulled the plugs, and I've got the gauge already hooked up. Like I say, today we're starting from the number 3 cylinder. I got the clutch tied off. I'll start it up with the throttle wide open, and let's see what kind of numbers we'll get. Okay, the number 3 cylinder is reading about 100 psi on the number 3 cylinder. All right, let's go to number 4. Okay, now we're on the number 4 cylinder. Let's see what happens. Okay, the number 4 cylinder is reading about 117 psi. So we got a number 117. Okay, now that we got those numbers, I have a friend of mine that's more knowledgeable about compression testing, those numbers, and I'm going to speak to him and see what he thinks these numbers mean, because we go from 180 on number 1 to 117, 120 on number 4. To me, that seems a bit of a big jump between the first cylinder and the fourth cylinder. Now, I keep telling you guys, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this bike. You know, I don't know if I'm gonna keep it or sell it or trade it in or give it away. I don't know. The next thing I'm going to do will be a synchronization of the carburetors. But like I said, I really got to be careful because I don't know if I'm gonna keep the bike. I don't know if I'm going to sell the bike. Right now, I just want to get the bike running good. So that might mean I might have to get some carburetor sync gauges. Now, my Honda Shadow has carburetors on it, and I can remember when I bought that bike in 2018, because the bike had sat for like 11 years. The diaphragms had disintegrated in the carburetor, and I took them out to get them you know, rebuilt, and I had them go through the carburetors. Back in 2018, that cost me $600. Now, the Katana has 4 carburetors on it. I don't know how much that would cost in 2023. Like I said, I got to be careful on how much money I spend on this project, mainly because it's not a project that I anticipated, because it came to me as in the way it did. So now there's some other things. I went and brought a proper auxiliary fuel tank, because I had a funnel and a piece of hose, and so I went out and bought a Bike Master auxiliary fuel tank. So when I do the carburation synchronization, you got to have gas. And another thing, I got to get a fan over here, because the Katana750 is an oil and air cooled bike, and you know, I need to bring a fan so I can keep the motor from running hot. And what else? Now, I checked the bike out while I was waiting for the Evaporust to do its magic in the gas tank, and the bike needs the forks done. The fork seals are just really messed up on this bike. Like I said, once again, I got to be careful. So I think right now I'm going to concentrate on getting the bike running, and running as smoothly as I possibly can on a real tight budget. I think the next video I'll put the bike back together, get the carburetors back together as much as I can at this point, and then see if I can take the bike out for a ride. Now, one thing I will have to get is a neutral safety switch, because as of right now, I can't start this bike in neutral. I have to put the kickstand up, and then I can start it in neutral, or any other gear, and the bike will start. That lets me know that it has a bad neutral safety switch. I saw one on eBay I'm going to get. It's $26, but it's used. Now, I've shopped on eBay before, but I've never bought anything used on eBay. But because I have to be budget minded on this project, a new one from RevZilla, a new neutral switch from RevZilla, is $89. I am not spending $89 on a new neutral safety switch. I'm going to take my chances, get the one for $26 off of eBay, and then we'll kind of go from there. As you can see what I'm wearing, it's fall here in Michigan. I love the colors here at the end of the year when it changes. We're heading off into winter. So I can't think of anything else right now. So I'm going to end part 2. I want you guys to like and subscribe to my channel. That'll help me out a whole lot. That way you can see the next parts that come along as I try to bring Project 2000 Katana 750 to bring it back as much as I can. All right. Hey, this is Solo Black 313. Rise and ride. God bless, and I'll see you the next time.